Hi, I'm Elizabeth Barnes, Senior Marketing Manager at Intel. I'm here with Ronak Singhal and John Carter. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Ronak from Intel.
I'm John Carter. I run the compute business unit for HPE.
So, HPE is advancing the market with its server technology, most recently with the ProLiant Gen12 powered by Intel Xeon 6. So John, how are the latest advancements helping customers address their current and their future infrastructure tech investments?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and I hear all the time from customers, we need to do more things with all of AI and all the new workloads at the edge or whatever it may be, but they don't have more budget. And so a lot of what we talk about with Gen 12 is how you can consolidate down, get all of the great performance of the latest technologies like Intel Xeon 6 processors, and still do all of the work of, for instance, versus an old Gen 10 server, you can take away 7 of those old servers and put in one new Gen 12, get the same performance, 65% less power. So huge savings for customers, not only in those runtime costs, but also when you think about how you have to manage those systems. Right, the ability to now not have as many people worried about, well, do I have the right firmware combination? Is this OS still supported? Is my warranty still valid? So the ability to simplify down your processes, your people's times, and then take advantage of some great new software assets we have as well, like HPE Morpheus VM Essentials, to bring down your virtualization licensing costs on top of that, it really makes for a complete package.
Sounds like it. So Ronak, how are the built-in acceleration and security advancements in the Intel Xeon 6 delivering ROI and efficiency for our customers?
Well, I mean, the first thing is what John said around the diversification of workloads, right? It's amazing that, you have this bulk of workloads that have existed for a long period of time, classical HPC, classical databases, but now you see the set of workloads growing, especially with the advent of AI. So then you look at what we've done inside Xeon 6, right? We have acceleration for AI with our AMX technology and our AVX 512 technology for people who want to do AI computation on the CPU. We also want to make sure that as you're pairing the CPU with accelerators for AI, that we are the best CPU for those use cases. So making sure we have the best I/O, the best memory bandwidth, and so forth. So for instance, we're the first ones to use an MRDIMM technology that gives us a significant boost in memory bandwidth over what anybody else can do. You can use that for AI workloads, you can use that for HPC workloads. And then John mentioned, it's a huge focus for everybody in the industry is your performance per watt, your power efficiency. And being able to show the improvements we've made generation over generation on our power efficiency, not just at the 100% point, which is what a lot of people benchmark at, but really at the real utilization levels that customers are running at, which often is lower than that, but showing across that entire, what we call the load line, that we're bringing down our power cost and improving our power efficiency. That's part of where we really spend a lot of our time as we develop Xeon 6.
Yeah, very good. And John, can you expand on the security innovations that HPE is delivering to our enterprise customers?
Yeah, so security has been kind of the foundation of what HPE does for a number of years. Back 7-8 years ago when we launched Gen 10, we really came out and led the industry with what's now known as hardware root of trust, or what we call the silicon root of trust. And there's a reason that we use different wording there versus some of our competitors, and that's because we're the only OEM system manufacturer who actually manufactures, designs our own ASIC for our BMC. So down at the silicon level of our management chip, there are hash values burned in that validate the integrity of the firmware load. That's how the system boots up, right? So as soon as you get power, you're protected. And that's unique in the industry. So we've continued to build on that as a foundation, and Gen 12 and ILO 7 have allowed us to add in a couple of great new features. So first of all, we are the first in the industry to now offer a post-quantum cryptography, I can't even say it yet, capable system at our BMC, meaning that when quantum computing comes, whether that's in 3 years or 5 years or whenever that may be, we are already protected against those kinds of threats because, as you all both know, quantum computing basically negates current cryptography technologies. So we are already prepared for that because we know that our customers today have systems that are 5, 7, 8, plus years old in their data centers, and we want to make sure that they're protected in use. Now, the other great thing that we've added is we've added in something that we call a secure enclave within the ASIC itself. And what that's basically doing is protecting from physical attacks on your BMC. So we hear about supply chain attacks or people taking chip clips and putting them onto a servers, and a lot of people think, yeah, but nobody's breaking into my data center. Well, that's not the real threat, right? The real threat is somebody buying a legitimate server clipping into that server, stealing those secrets, stealing those encryption keys, and then using that to attack other customers' equipment. So with this secure enclave, think of it like a vault for all of those secrets that can't be physically addressed through any other part of the server. So you are protected in a way that no other system on the market today is, and it allows us to meet the criteria for the US federal government, their FIPS 140-3 level 3 criteria, which is an industry first for us as well. So really, really exciting stuff from a security perspective. We then now pair that up into the cloud with our compute ops management software, where we're allowing for secure workflows to make sure that certain actions don't get taken on your devices without the right people signing off on it. Very, very important. As well as a security dashboard so you can see the health and well-being of all of your systems, regardless of where they live in your environment.
You know, Intel and HPE have been innovating together for decades. You know, how can you provide some perspectives on how we're collaborating together to bring these innovative technologies to market? So let me start with you, John.
Sure. So I mean, even at the basic development of a system level, right, before we even get hardware from Intel, we are actually emulating the communication between CPU and then our firmware and BIOS. So we have that validation going on even before we have real systems. And so I think that's really unique in the industry of how far back that development goes. It's not like 6 months before you see something come to market, we're shoving things together and making sure it works. We actually develop these systems together.
Absolutely. And Ronak?
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, first of all, it was great to see the partnership with HPE as we launched the Gen 12 portfolio, because this portfolio is broader than any portfolio we've done before. We have, you know, going from core counts that are much larger in range than previously, power ranges that are much larger. We even introduced a new processor to our portfolio with our E-core, our efficient core. So we have now our high performance cores and we have our high efficiency cores. And then one area that we've been a strong partner of HPE in the past and will continue to be in the future is, you see with AI, how do you manage all of that big data is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. So the systems that we work with HPE that are not just 2-socket, but 4-socket and above systems, really built for those high memory capacity in-memory databases. I think that's another place where we've had a strong partnership in the past, and I look forward to what we're going to do in the future.
So, Ronak, let me ask you, why is the flexible x86-based platform so important for addressing current and future modern workloads, like AI?
Yeah, I think there are a couple things there. First of all, you mentioned x86. You know, x86 has been the architecture that the internet's been built on. It's the architecture that AI is still being built on. We talked about that host CPU. The majority of the host CPUs today are Xeons. We want to continue to build the strength around the x86 software ecosystem. We've partnered with HPE as part of our x86 advisory group, really where we're taking x86 going forward in time. So that's on the software architecture side. I think the other piece is open platforms. We believe very much in open platforms, open standards, and that's another place where HPE has been a great partner of ours. Things like the PCIe bus, things like form factor, and so forth going forward with open compute. These are all areas that we have an extremely strong partnership, I think.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. So, last question. If you have one piece of advice for customers looking to really invest today or in the future, what would that be? Let me start with you, John.
So I think the biggest thing for me is we talk about optimization a lot. And optimization, I think too often we feel like that means the biggest supercomputing systems with 15 accelerators and all that kind of craziness. And there are use cases for that, right? There are absolutely real times where that makes sense. But optimization also means right sizing for your smaller workloads. And that's something that I think we partner very well together on with a broad portfolio of offerings, is we make sure that we are giving customers choice in being able to right size the hardware that they've got with the workload. So we optimize for that use case and allow them to really think about the ROI of that investment, not just having the latest, greatest, fastest system out there.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to see when people say, what is the metric they're using to buy? Is it the best performance per dollar? Is it the most cores per watt? Everybody has a different metric based on their infrastructure. And I think it's interesting to see which customers really are interested in, I want one size that fits all for all my different workloads. Show me something where I can consolidate a number of workloads, where I can do my technical computing, I can do my database computing. Versus other customers that say, hey, I'm fine with the heterogeneity. Give me something that's purpose-built for each of these use cases. And I think the portfolio we've built together allows either kind of customer to really find a good solution inside of what we have.
Absolutely.
Great. John, Ronak, thank you being here today. Thanks for talking about the innovative technologies that Intel and HPE are collaborating with for our customers.
Thanks.
John.